Hello and welcome to the December update from Dean Park Station. I'd just like to wish everyone a belated Merry Christmas and when it comes, a Happy New Year. I hope you got what you wanted for your layout from Santa. I got 2 or 3 bits and pieces and I'll show you them in the course of this video. I've also been busy doing a bit of wiring during December and a scenic area, and I've been doing some track laying, so I'll hopefully show you these in the course of the video, and then I'll finish with a kind of seasonal running session for you. Hope you enjoy. Cheers. Okay, what I've got here is one of my billboards. These are 10 Commandments kits. I think they're about £6, £6.50 each, and they're laser cut card. What I did is I sprayed the border in a satin white, and the kind of board area for somebody standing on while they're changing the billboard, and the kind of handrail I just painted matte black. It's also got supports behind it, obviously for kind of fixing it to the actual wall. And there's a wee ladder there at the left hand side. If you could move that out of the way. Wee ladder I just painted actually Rail Match sleeper grime to give it kind of a worn kind of wooden look. The poster itself was made by me. You get a poster within the actual pack, but they're kind of generic, and I thought, well, they don't really suit my kind of interest or era, so I went around the internet looking for billboards from the time. It's actually pretty difficult to find decent ones, and I got this British Airways Fly the Flag one. It's actually from the late 70s, early 80s, with the British Airways kind of typeface there in lowercase, but I thought, you know, it's a decent quality image, so I saved it into a file, publisher file, and printed it out on glossy paper. Before I mounted it, I sprayed it in matte varnish, a couple of good coats of matte varnish, just to tone it down and make it look like it was actually, you know, a billboard and not just a photograph stuck on. I just mounted it on with some spray mount and then fitted it all together and just attached it to the wall with a bit of super glue. So you can see it kind of sticks out from the wall a little bit on its wooden supports, and the image itself is quite a good quality, I have to say. Highest setting on your printer. It eats the ink, but you know it pays off, and certainly the matte coat spray finish that I put on it just tones it down and makes it realistic. And you get the wee Maiden company sign, if you like, to stick on the bottom of the frame of the billboard. Quite chuffed with that one. So that was one, and I'll nipple on the other end and I'll show you the other. Okay, here's the second billboard. It's an intercity one, and it's got the HST on it, and these were actually adverts in the mid to late 80s, and again did the same what I did with the last one. Printed it out on glossy paper, sprayed it down with matte finish, mounted it with spray mount, and fixed it on the actual frame. This one hasn't got the walkway. I've chopped that off, chopped the supports at the bottom of it off, and because near the platform the guy can, you know, change it whilst putting his ladders on the platform surface. I think that looks quite cool. Intercity, now you're motoring, and there's a whole series of these ones in the 80s that I've managed to acquire and save on file. So if I do any more in the future, I can add some more intercity and British Rail ones. I didn't put, you know, early 80s ones, but I've kind of tried to go for mid to late 80s, which is kind of loosely the era. So I'm pretty chuffed with these, I have to admit. I'll show you the sheet of other options that I had in this video, and you know, you could go on the internet and type in intercity advertisements from the 80s, or, you know, things like that, and just search. I think there's a website with all these on it, all the intercity ones on it, British Rail ones, and I say you can right click, save picture as, save it into your My Computer, and then, you know, import it into a Microsoft Publisher file or a Serif file or something like that, and it's easy to crop, resize, and it's not pixelated. It's a high quality picture. This one's supposed to be, the intercity is supposed to be blurred, not that blurred, because it's obviously, you know, going at a bit of speed. And these are quite cool. I was going to put them inside as well, but because of the supports for the roof and the little buttresses, you can see one just at the left hand side of the screen there, there's not any large flat area for me to mount one on, so I thought, you know what, one, you don't see them, and I'd hate to use one that looks really cool, put it under the roof and you don't see it unless I do under the roof shots. So I'll save my other cool ones for maybe the other side of the layout at the TMD and all that kind of stuff, and rail side advertisements. So I say I'll show you the sheet that I cut these from, and to give you an idea of the other ones that are out there, and you can use them for your own layout. I say it beats the ones that you get with the pack. One of them was Hello Boys with the Wonder Bra, but I think that's a bit late for my era. I'd love to have put it on right enough, but not the bra, the poster. But I thought it was a wee bit too late for me, so I just stuck with Intercity. Okay, here are a selection of the billboard adverts that I've managed to find. I put them on a file, printed them out on A4 glossy photo paper, and the two at the top that are missing are obviously the two that I've cut out and stuck on the layout. Most of them I've got here are Intercity related, but this one here is a Peugeot 205 GTI advert from maybe the late 80s, and a couple of political based ones, obviously Defence one and You Can't Trust Labour. They're from the 1992 general election era, so a wee bit late for me, but again, you know, they could have been from the 1987 election. It was the same kind of stuff they trot out. And the rest, I've got here Fit for a Prince. It's about the Highland Chieftain, and this one there about the Northern Lights service. And this is quite a cool one. It's quite colourful but quite clear and simple, just like the one I've actually with Intercity HST on it, with the Raspberry Ripple liveried coaches there, and there the chap walking his dog and seeing the HST going over the viaduct. There's obviously the political one, and this is from the early 90s, Sentimental Journey. It's about the Flying Scotsman from King's Cross to Edinburgh. So I've got in the mid to late 80s, early 90s covered here. I say they're quite difficult to track them down in landscape form and decent quality. And this is kind of grey, but obviously if you trimmed it you wouldn't know that it was as grey because you wouldn't have the white border. But I'll keep them for future. I'm quite impressed with some of the Intercity ones, but obviously you can't just have Intercity ones all over the place. You've got to have a selection of other adverts. Hope you like some of these, and if you've got any other ones that you've managed to find online, give us a shout. I'd quite like to build up a collection of these. Something else I've been up to this month is putting a wee bit of a scenic area at the end of the platform 1. It was in my mind to kind of do a kind of overgrown area, but I came across these fences from Gem Castings, and I'll put the link to the website that sells them in the description. But they're brass, and they're finer than the Bachmann ones, and you also get a gate pack, and there's a kind of gate at the end of this, a double opening gate, and the generators or the substation. These are from a Hornby substation, Scaledale's one, that I managed to track down second hand on eBay, and basically what I did was I ripped the transformers and that out of it and chucked away the wall. It was a bit of an expensive activity, but to get what I wanted, I needed to do that, and I just ballasted, gravelled for the engineers to get in to service it or whatnot. Painted the fence in a satin dark green, Humbrol satin dark green. A lot of the fences at Edinburgh Waverley are painted in that colour, and they will be replicated along this area here. If I have a fence anywhere in this raised area, I'll use the same kind of colour of fencing. Wasn't it cheap, the fencing, but it is brass and it's nice to work with. and easy to cut, and you know, just give it a prime and then a paint. I just did it with my airbrush. I wasn't going to start painting all that by hand, all the wee individual spars, and I've drilled holes in the baseboard, super glued them in after I've done all the scenic area, and these are just held in with, you know, super glue as well. It kind of gives it a kind of you know, line side transformer kind of theme going on here. You know, these transformers could be linked to the buildings or to the rails. It doesn't really matter. Got busy with my static grass as well, with the nosh and woodland scenics, weeds and bushes and stuff. There's a slight hint of a path here, as you can see, from getting from the tarmac area to the substation itself, and a bit of the woodland scenics around here, and just sealed it all down with some woodland scenic cement. But I made a bit of a schoolboy error. I forgot to kind of cover up the platform edge. I moved all this this stuff, and the glue soaked under, and it kind of went into the card, and it's kind of damaged the very corner there. You'll see the papers lifted off the platform, but that's going to have bushes. I'm going to neaten that up with some bushes and neat PVA, because the neat PVA doesn't seem to affect the paper on the card. It's just the watery stuff, it soaks into the card. So a wee top tip there, if you're doing any ballasting or any stuff that requires scenic cement, or you know, avoid putting it on exposed edges of card. If the card's covered in paper, that's not so bad, but it's when it soaks underneath the exposed edges. For example, here, that's an exposed edge of card, and if it got in there, it would soak in, and it almost kind of starts to disintegrate. So I was in there with the old paper towels trying to soak it out, and I think I got away with it, and you wouldn't know now, but obviously there's a wee bit of damage to the bottom of the brickwork, which is going to get covered with weeds and, you know, gravel anyway. But it kind of gives that kind of overgrown end of the rail effect, you know, a bit of the grass creeping near the rails, static grass there, 6mm and 4mm length static grass, and you know, the gravel kind of disappears into the weed, and you give the impression that there was a gravel path there at one time, but it started to overgrow. And I finished it off with the walling there as well, to match the rest. What I'm going to do here is I've got another series of gates. I've got another pack of gates, or within the same pack as that, and I'm going to kind of fence it off with a gate, and you know, put me trespass on the railway, you know, maximum fine £1,000 kind of sticker or a label on the fence or the gate, just to kind of seal that off. Because at the moment, any Joe Bloggs can walk in here and walk onto the railway, and obviously that's not going to be the case in real life. Maybe in the 80s right enough, but now with our health and safety mad world we live in, the fences are even fenced off in case you hurt yourself on the fence. But I'm going to seal that off with a gate again. Gem castings, spray it green, you know, and this can be an engineer's access area only, and that'll be that area finished. So really, I'm quite pleased with that. Not overdone the overgrown stuff, you know, but it started to kind of blend in with the retaining wall. These are actually a pack of the gem castings. That was just the fence, and you can see how much fence I've used. You get extra you know, supports and stuff to use. There's plenty of stuff to use there. And then there's the gates. You get large wide single, narrow single, kind of double opening that I've used there, extra support, fence supports, you know. So I've got quite a few options, and you can trim it, just, you know, cut it with a Stanley blade. It's very thin, the brass, and I've just kind of given that a coat in etched primer. Etched primer holds onto the brass a lot better than just regular car body primer. It really grips onto the brass. So if you're ever doing brass stuff, I got this recommended by my local hobby shop. Use the I think it's Acid 8. You get it out of Halfords. It costs a lot of money for a tin, but it's a large tin, and it's, you know, it's going to last me a long time if I don't let the nozzle clog up. So that's the gem castings. I say you get them on the website that I'll put in the description underneath the video. Something else I've been busy with is lighting the station roof area. If you look at the brute trolleys at the right hand side, behind it there's a kind of grey pillar that kind of goes up and then follows the curve of the roof, and then another 3 down there's another one, and then another 3 down there's another one, and just at the top of the screen in the middle you can see the kind of black LED holders with the LED plugged into it. That's my best attempt at lighting this with no wires showing. It's evergreen strips, hollow strips, and all I've done was I feed the wire through it into the top, and it comes out the end where the LED holder is. I sprayed it grey, just primer. I super glued it to the iron effect curved fittings of the roof, and it bends easy so you can manipulate it. And if you've got super glue, it's done within 10-15 seconds, so you don't have to worry about holding it for hours. The LED kind of holder at the top of the screen is glued to the frame underneath the skylights of the roof, and the LED just plugs in. Now the wires go through the bottom of the platform. If you see this one where my finger is, move these out the way. Out the way. If you see that there, where my thumb is, my finger, sorry, it goes through the platform, down underneath, and into the 12 volt DC bus wire that I've got running around the layout. And I've got 6 lights in the roof here. I didn't want to light it up like a Christmas tree, but it gives it the effect I'm looking for. So what I'll do is I'll switch them on. They're linked to the station building lights and the car park lights. I thought, well, what's the point of having 101 switches when I can get away with just using one. That's it lit, and you don't get the real effect until I switch the lights off, which I'm now going to do. There we go. And I say in my last video, it does look better in real life than it does on my camera. My camera seems to dull it down a bit, but that's not too lit. But it's realistic enough. Now I'll move it out before I see any more, and there we have it. And if I lower it down to there, you can see inside. And I come back even more, the station lights are there as well. So that's it now, the station area fully lit. Quite impressed with that actually. A wee system of, you don't see the wiring, there's the lights, you don't see the wiring in the roof area, so it's hidden. Nothing worse than wires getting, red and black wires stuck everywhere. I'll put it on, when I do the running session, obviously I have this with the train running through it, but it's also cool, it's got the red lights from the buffer stops you can see as well through the roof there and stuff. Any thoughts or comments on that, guys? Just again, just let me know what you think. Some other things I've been working on this month are to do with the platform detail for the under the roof section. You've seen these before. I'll be adding some of these to the platforms, the destination screens and the digital clocks. These are from Bachmann modernisation packs, station modernisation packs. I've got the self-adhesive Dean Park signs stuck on white plastic card with the poles being model scene. I sprayed them red, same as the other ones, a couple of them. I've also made up some platform numbering. Most of them are on the kind of double-sided with 2 platforms, and they'll be spaced along alternative to the information boards and all that kind of stuff. I've also got single-armed ones for platform 2, and I've also been painting some of these resin seats outlined in one of my previous videos in the red paint finish. Now they're made of resin, and whilst they're not as good as the Ten Commandments ones, which are here, and these are the creme de la creme. I mean, these are brass, and I mean super detailed. But these cost Well, that's £5 each, believe it or not. So it's £20 for 4, whereas these cost £2.50 each. So I'll put them underneath the roof where you won't see them, and maybe put these on some of the areas you might catch an eye, a glimpse of, because it'd be a shame to hide these ones considering how much I paid for them. That'll be January's job, to finally detail the under the roof area on the platform. I've also got an information board that I'm going to put in the concourse area, so when passengers are sitting they can look at, you know, information and timetable and details. That'll go beside the buffet that's on the concourse. I think I've shown these before, but these are the bins, 10 Commandments modern bins. Again, I've painted them in the station red that I'm using. And they'll just get wee hole bored in the bottom, oops, the platform, and just fixed in place. Again, I just gave them a prime, a couple of coats with the red and the airbrush, and that was them. So once all this is in place, I think the platform will be crowded enough, along with the passengers obviously, and that'll be the station kind of, you know, finished underneath the roof anyway. The last thing I've been working on is laying the track on the upper section behind the station. I've just finished laying that this week, and tested it with some Mark 4s, which are my longest coaches, and it goes all the way along there and it kinks in round, follows the wall, and then 2 bits of track hanging off the end will be leading to the upper section, which I'll go down and show you just now. I've put a slight curve in the line, you know, to help it flow around the shape of the wall, and that will continue all the way around in a large curve to where the 37 is, and it will go into a raised section there. But this is going to be the town area, which will be again 2015's kind of project. Okay, here at the east end we've got these 2 tracks kind of dangling off the edge there. That will be the 2 main lines that come round in a large radius past the Hornby boxes and over that box, and they'll go round towards that Backman box. I'll also have a passing loop one, a third rail if you like, that'll run there and it'll join back on here, just for TMDs and in coal trains. The third line will branch off as well into this incline, which will run all the way around the back seam, down and round and rejoin here in that kind of branch line there. All this wood will be obviously shaped into a kind of curve for the embankment with the 3 tracks on it, and you'll be able to see the incline. Didn't want to box the incline in case I had any issues, and maintenance issues as well. I want to be able to easy access, so that's why I'm kind of leaving it exposed. It's only from 0 to 3 and a bit inches, so it's not unrealistic incline, and it's happening over about 12 to 15 feet. So again, it's, you know, it's not going to be too steep, hopefully. The 3 tracks that I've got will come round here. 2 will follow the main lines on the lower section, albeit they'll be raised, and 1 will branch off into the TMD, which will run from around that tub to the HST power car, which is just under 3 metres, and I'll have everything from a full length HST servicing area. It'll have local sheds, servicing points, refueling points, wash plants, inspection pits, you know, storage sidings, maybe hopefully some storage for some rolling stock as well for their maintenance and cleaning. Kind of all up in the air, but that's my kind of plan anyway. I'll also cut rectangular holes in the baseboard you see now, so I can get underneath to you know, repair any point motors and wiring that might be an issue in future. So I thought about making the whole top section removable to get in to repair the points, but I thought that's just not going to be workable time I get my scenery in, so I'm going to cut rectangular and square holes in the lower baseboard to kind of allow me to get into that. So that's kind of the lower section, with the upper section starting to get in place with the 9mm exterior ply there, and this kind of section here, this east end, will be the remainder of the winter's kind of project. Any suggestions on what I've said, anything you could think of, greatly appreciated. Okay, one of my major investments this month has been to move over to the Railmaster DCC control system. I say expensive because I had to buy a laptop, which, you know, this one was a touchscreen one, because the Railmaster is touchscreen compliant. So this is my Christmas present to myself. I kind of told my wife it was for her as well, but I don't think she'll ever see this laptop again. This is a good laptop because this actually folds back on itself, so you can have the screen and this would turn round to the back, so this would be the stand and you always have a screen. So I could tuck this right in and just have a screen there for tap tap tap, you know, controlling the trains. The installation itself is quite straightforward. I got there eventually, and I've also got the E-Link, which is this little gizmo here, which renders the Elite now obsolete. This is a pain in the backside to get the computer to pick it up. When you open up Railmaster automatically looks for the E-Link, but for some reason, probably about 60% of the time at the moment, it's coming up, can't find it, and you've got to then power this down, take the lead out, close Railmaster, power that up, put the lead back in, power up Railmaster, and it works. I don't understand the problem. I've emailed Hornby about this and hopefully they'll be able to come back. I just find that the connection is actually quite flimsy and it's only a 1 amp transformer, so they say it should be fine, and it works. You know, when it logs out, it does do the business, but what a kerfuffle. And I'm not the only one to have this problem. I've been on the forums, and the Hornby forums and ROM Web, and this is an issue. However, that's a small, once it's up and running it's not an issue, but it's a small bugbear. It might take me 5 minutes, for example, to get ready to run trains when I come up here, and that's just a pain in the backside, because I'm taking the laptop down stairs, I'm only leaving the E-Link here, so every time I come up I'm going to have to go through maybe the same rigmarole again and again. So anyway, let's open up this laptop. On this screen, when you open it up, you are presented with your matrix. Now I've made this up. If I go to, say, 50%, there's my map, some of my map anyway, and you think that's this will be the area on the incline, and the raised area will be in here. That's why there's such a big gap. So I've labelled it all up. I've not got any points wired up to it just now. That's the next stage, which I'll come to in a minute. But this is really easy to put together. It's a bit of fun actually. But that's your the matrix kind of track. And when local detection, when I get that, if I ever do get that, it'll show where the train is, you know, on the actual matrix. This is not to scale, as Simon Kohler says in one of the videos that I've seen on YouTube. Don't get hung up on, you know, is it an exact replica of the layout, etc. It's a matrix to show you kind of the rough outline. So that's what I've got with this. If you go into press the local button, I had to program all the logos in, or type them all the details in. It'll come up with the list, all the ones I've entered in there. So I've got my my large logo, University of Leicester, Queen Mother, etc. And if I just click on one, it brings it up, and I've got groups that it's in. At the moment it's in the intercity service. I've got that kind of linked into a group. You can put the trains in different groups. Yeah, I can have them in several groups if I wanted. I can scroll up and down and stuff. I've got different ones. I've got Freight, Royal Mail, Royal Train Duties, ScotRail Express. I'll put that into local as well, and it comes up there telling you what it is. An Express, and it gives you the speeds. If I come out of that one, 95 for the top speed, and 10. And the wee image there, I think that's from the Hattons website or something. I don't know. I've got it off Google Images. And some of them, if it's a Hornby one, there's already a kind of logo in there, a picture dating back to 1975. All the trains made by Hornby since then. So if I go down, for example, to, there's my 91. Yes, I do. There it is. And that image came from the Hornby, actually, Elite. Sorry, the Railmaster itself. So there we go. I've got all that, and I've got it to 100 mile an hour just now. It's apparently scale speeds, but I don't think I've set it up right. Down the right hand side, sorry, is all your functions. It's only got it's been converted from DC, so it's not got any lights or anything like that. And I noticed Hornby have brought out the 91 in East Coast this year for the 2015, and it's still not been upgraded with lights and stuff. I mean, it's almost a kind of railroad model. Not to say I'll no buy it, but it's disappointing. when other companies are going into electrics now, like the Bachmann are doing the 90, and it'll be a beautiful model, I'm sure. Hornby they're risking losing out here, because it's not too long before Bachmann pounce on the 91 and Mark IV coaches and an upgraded Mark IV DVT. So I'm quite disappointed in the 2015 catalogue, to be honest. There was not a lot for, not a lot of new diesel electric retools, if you like. But it's a nice model, apart from the fact it's not got any lights. So that's all my locos in there, and as I want to add more in, I can just program it. It's pretty straightforward. So I'll come out of that, and down the right hand side here's where my locos are, and again you can call up a group. So there at the moment I've got all, but if I only want the ones that are on, say, Royal Train duties, I've got the 47, the Union of South Africa and the Britannia. That's all I've got on the Royal Train group, you see, so I can only call them up. If I've got ScotRail Express, all it will bring up is the 47 push pulls. So loco number 7 is Sir Walter Scott. So if I just press on that, it brings it up onto the main screen, and there is the loco. And I can either press shunt, cruise, stop, or I can do it manually here, change forward and backward, put the cab lights on, it's all touchscreen compliant. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to move over to the train, hopefully, and you can see it. There we go. Right, I'm going to put the cab, the front lights on there, put the cab lights on there, and I'm going to put it to cruise. I'm not changing any of the decoder, it's exactly the same as it was when the Elite was in. It's still been slow acceleration, but it'll take it up to the 95 mile an hour that I've got it set at. And on the screen, there it's going. I've got it up to cruise. I've got the functions there. Obviously you've got a sound fitted one, you'll have all your horn, valves, etc. in there, but I've just got this one as 2 because that's all it's got. It's not a sound fitted loco. And if I wanted to go down to that, I press that and it will slowly take it down to 10 mile an hour. And you can maybe hear it slowing down behind me. I want to go faster again, just click on that and it's taking it way up again. It's an easy system to use. And if I want another loco up, I just call another loco up. So maybe say, for example, I want this one. That brings that one up. It's Charles Rennie Mackintosh. It's stationary just now, it's actually not on the layout, so I'm not going to obviously put it on. I want Sir Walter Scott back up, there I go. Simple. I wish setting it up was, or getting the E-Link to work was simple but I'm pretty pressed. We all have a wee bit of Hornby bashing from time to time, but I think you've got to give your credit to Hornby here. They actually have produced a system which is pretty easy to use, albeit with the slight E-Link connection issues, which I might get a resolution to. You can double head, you can actually program a sequence like start up, move for 10, stop, change the points, etc. when that's all linked in, and you can technically program the train session running and just stand back and watch it all. And because I've got the E-Link, it's tablet and Android compatible, so I'll eventually get my iPhone and my wife's iPad that she doesn't know I'm going to take, and I'll be standing there, of course, at the TMD, which is behind me right now, controlling trains. So I'll not have to come back to this central station, if you like, control station. So out of 10 for the Railmaster, I'll give it 9. I could do with maybe explanation of these functions on the top. I know they're quite self-explanatory, but the manual is pretty thin on actually how to operate. You've got to kind of work out for yourself. It's not rocket science. I class myself as a half intelligent person, and I got there in the end. It was something to do on Christmas night. E-Link so far for connectivity, I'd give it 2 out of 10, but hopefully I'll get to the bottom of that. But there's not a lot of wiring, and obviously you can connect the E-Link to your programming track, which obviously not just now. No new locos to program, but that'll be done in due course. And I might keep the Elite just maybe as a programming facility, save me doing it on the laptop. So that's that. With this, you can also link your points using Hornby decoders, or any other decoder for that matter. And I'm thinking to myself, if I look at the wiring for all my points, I mean, it's just an absolute sea of wires. I must have hundreds of meters of wires under here. So what I'm thinking about doing, you buy the decoder, it's £30-35. I think Hattons is the cheapest so far, but they're out of stock. You buy one and you connect it up to 4 turnouts. It's basically 2 wires from the decoder into the bus wire, and then the wires coming from the Pico or the SEEP motors into the decoder. You program it into here, and basically you just click and you would change the sequence sitting here. You wouldn't have to get up, and you can, you know, control the amount of burst that it gets if it needs a bit more burst to move the point over. So I'm thinking that's the next step. So I'm a bit of a disappointed to myself that I've actually gone into lots of trouble of buying all these switches, which would be £5 each. Do your maths. I've got plenty more in the cupboard. All the wiring. When this is all going to get eventually replaced, I'll keep these. I'm wanting to keep my lighting and my signals DC, because the CR ones run on DC analog. So I'll remove all this. I'll put a new shelf in there, which I've got, and maybe just a control panel along here with these switches for lights. So it will just be the lights, you know, the station lights and house lights and street lights, etc. That'll all be controlled DC. The rest will all be controlled through this machine. So these will all be, you know, going. When I started my layout, I didn't know about the Elite and stuff and the Railmaster, so I went with this because I was kind of ignorant, really, of what you can do with computerized stuff. But you can kind of think, you know, jings, that's a lot of wires. And you know, I've got all this, the wires are all slack there, so when I pull the tree out, it's still, you know, it's getting crowded under here. And if I could do with all the black and the green and the red ones, all I will have is the wiring for my lights and my signals. So that's the theory anyway. That's 2015's expense. I mean, at the moment, well, there's what, 6, 12, 18. You know, that's five decoders at £32 a piece. And I'll obviously do more for the TMD. But it will be handy for the TMD, because what I would have to have done for the TMD is put another series of switches here to control the TMD, which is going to be there. And that would just get barmy amount of wire going on here. So I rambled on long enough about the E-Link and the Railmaster. If you're looking to get into this control, I didn't have a laptop, which was the most expensive part, but I'm using the laptop for other things. It's not just for this, and you know, this works on Windows 95, so it doesn't need a new laptop or a new computer. An old computer, if you've got one lying around, wire it up. I've seen other guys on YouTube, and they kind of persuaded me to go for this, and so far I'm very happy, albeit with that a bit of a bugbear. Any questions on this, you can ask them, but because I'm pretty new to it, I might not be able to answer them, but I could always give my opinion.